note, it's time to talk some sports, starting with a wild game for the Guardians last night. Mike, why don't you get us going?
Yeah, we'll get into the extra inning dub in 1 second, but first a quick word from FanDuel. You guys know I love sports. I love them so much. I never want them to stop, but as the playoffs wind down, we get fewer and fewer games, and the sports just aren't sportsing like I want them to. But FanDuel keeps me in the game whenever I want because all I have to do is open the app, dream up some bets anytime I'm in the mood, and the sports come back to life. And this summer, FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right, there's something for everyone every day all summer long. So head over to FanDuel.com/UCSS and start making the most out of your summer. FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball and the ultimate Cleveland sports show.
9-8, the Guardians win in 10 innings last night in Detroit. And it was a game the Guardians had a 6-0 lead, a 7-3 lead. They ended up blowing the lead 7-7. And then they win it in the 10th. They scored 2 in the 10th. The Tigers came back with 1 in the bottom of the 10th. It's so funny to me that I'm seeing fans now complaining about the way the Guardians are winning. Mm-hmm. Obviously, as a team, they haven't been quite as sharp lately. But this is baseball. Like in football, I kind of understand when you complain about that because it's an indicator that once you play better teams in the playoffs, you might lose. That's not the case in baseball.
Yeah.
Like there's ebbs and flows of the season. No team plays great all year long. It just doesn't happen. It's impossible. So, yes, they blew a big lead. They won the game.
Right.
That's all that matters to me.
Well, to that point, the day before, I had to call my mechanic to get my son's car in. It's got to get some things done. And first thing he says to me, Indians can't score a run against the Tigers. Indians can't score a run against the Tigers. Yeah. What's going on with this team? Like, man, it's one game.
One game. And I love the passion. That's the positive.
Yes.
I mean, I love that there's people more interested in the Guardians than we've seen in a number of years now.
Yes.
That's great.
Yes.
They're just tuning in, boo.
Yeah.
Look, expectations is the great equalizer.
That's true.
They've seen it happen for it's a sustained enough period of time where the Guardians have won.
Yeah.
They look up. They got 5 All-Stars. So now, in my mind, you're supposed to smoke people every game. It's not like that, but that's what the expectation levels are. But I will say this. The thing that I am a little concerned about, and when we've talked about it here, is when is the shoe going to fall for Lively, right? How long is he going to be able to pitch? And every single time he has a mediocre or a bad outing, people are going to say, is he turning back into the old Ben Lively, or is this the new him, or what are we doing here?
Yeah, I think that's fair. It's hard,
It's the third time through the order.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
He's not an elite pitcher. He's pitched like one at this point. He's not an elite pitcher. And when you see the lineup the third time through, when guys get a third look at you, that's where you're going to run into trouble. And that's where, again, if you want to look ahead to the postseason, he's not going to see a lineup a third time through. I promise you that.
Oh, in a perfect world, he's not even starting.
He may not see him a second time.
Okay.
In a perfect world, he's not even starting in the playoffs.
That's not the world we live in.
That's probably not likely.
He's going to be starting. He'll be starting maybe Game 3, certainly Game 4 of any playoff series.
If he's starting Game 3, that's a problem.
But you can't let him see it. You can't let him see it the third time through. He may not see the second time through, frankly.
Right, yeah.
It may be one time through and then out, depending on.
But you're also going to face a lot better lineup than the Tigers.
Absolutely, which is why you get him out sooner.
Although Gio Urshela, the former Guardian, seems to kill the Guardians every time. You don't hit anybody else. I mean, he's doing nothing this year. He's got terrible numbers across the board, but he always seems to play well against his former team.
Yeah.
I thought, and Ben Lively was in a situation, and I've heard some managers talk about this. It was interesting. I heard, in fact, it was the Tigers manager, A.J. Hinch. Mm-hmm. He was on MLB radio yesterday, and Mike Ferrin, who's been a guest on this show, asked him about, because on Monday's game, he brought in Shelby Miller to close, which I thought was pretty surprising. Mm-hmm. And Mike Ferrin said the same thing. He goes, hey, A.J., I was a little surprised you brought in Shelby Miller. Why did you bring in Shelby Miller? And he talked about, I don't know where I was going with this. I know what he said. Why
second time through the order, third time through the order?
Man, now I just had a brain fart, and I can't remember why I brought this up. But anyway, I thought it was interesting, the comments he made about, hey, I remember where I was going with this. That he said Shelby Miller had struggled a couple of weeks earlier, I think against Cincinnati. He came into 2 games where it was a blowout.
Yeah.
And he wasn't focused.
Right.
Because they were just trying to throw strikes, get out of the game. And that blew up his numbers. And you don't think about that all the time. And, you know, Ben Lively, most of the games he's pitched have been close games. I'm not making an excuse. He pitched poorly in the end. But he had that big lead. You wonder if he kind of just said, all right, let's just throw strikes here.
Let's just get out.
And he wasn't. And a guy like Ben Lively is not going to win on stuff.
Yeah.
No.
Ben Lively's going to win on smarts.
Yeah.
On outthinking the hitters. And if he gets to the point where he's like, well, I got a big lead, I better just throw it right down the middle, essentially. Now, he may not be thinking that consciously, but he's not maybe not be focused on the game plan as much. That could lead to the results that we saw after that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I always find it strange that, you know, if you win a game from coming from behind, you get more love than if you blew the lead and then still won.
Yeah, right. It's
Like
true.
you're like, oh, listen,
That's funny.
can you imagine? Did you see the Guardians came from 6-0?
Yeah.
And you're like, but yeah, like we always give deference to starting off slow but ending strong. You know, I was a little concerned because they just don't play. Like I'm looking at the Tigers and I'm like, all right, Tigers is decent. They're not nothing special. I was in my feelings like, oh, we about to lose 2 in a row to the Tigers. I'm looking at Minnesota. Minnesota's playing a little bit better. I'm like, nah, I don't like that, bro. But they pulled it out at the end. And if you can, to me, it's about winning series. Like if you win a series consistently, I think you can feel good about yourself. One game here or one game there to the White Sox or the Tigers or the Royals. It is what it is. We just worry about winning series.
Yeah, I mean, and the Twins have done a better job of late of beating up the bad teams. The Guardians have not beat up the bad teams. The Guardians played very well against good teams. They've, for some reason, not dominated the bad teams, and that's why the Twins have closed the gap a little bit. Twins actually have the best record in baseball, I believe, since like April 28th or whatever.
Yeah.
They've played great. This division is the best it's been in a number of years because Kansas City's competitive. Kansas City's a decent team. Detroit's competitive, and Minnesota's good, and we know how good the Guardians are. But, you know, they're going to go over 60 wins, I think, before the All-Star break. I'd bet on that. They got 5 games left. I think they'll win 60-plus, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I mean, despite some piccadillies here that you can go on about, they've mostly played great. I think, yes, the starting pitching remains the biggest concern with this team, whether Ben Lively's good or not. You know, now, the positive, and I don't think were you guys here yesterday? None of you.
I was, yeah.
Oh, you were, yeah. So you guys, I'm sure, talked about it a little, but it was great to see Gavin Williams with that second start. I mean, he was fantastic in that game. But anyway, but there were definitely some positives last night. Angel Martinez is playing great.
Yep.
Yeah.
He hits his first home run. I mean, the guy's been unbelievable. Naylor hit a home run last night. You know, sometimes when you blow a big lead, it's hard to get the bats going again. They got the 2 runs in the 10th inning, and Emmanuel Clase, who gave up the unearned run because the runner, that's, you know, nothing. He shut the door as usual. Gaddis pitched great again. Barlow did a nice job yesterday. The bullpen continues to be pretty strong. Bullpen only gave up 1 run, I think, right?
This Angel Martinez, like,
He's been fantastic so far.
if say for instance they put him in order full time, and he's an everyday player, where would they bat him? Because he only seem like he's a leadoff guy.
I mean, you're not going to take Quan out of the leadoff
Right, so-
spot.
But he's batting second.
He could be he could be a prototypical number 2 hitter, and which really they don't have. They haven't.
Yeah,
I thought Freeman could be that guy. I hoped he would be that guy. He's been up and down this year. Now he's more into a part-time role right now.
Yeah.
If Martinez continues to hit, they're going to keep running him out there.
Yeah, I mean, right now he's got to play every day.
Yeah.
I mean, the way he's shown great plate discipline.
Yeah.
What has he got? 8-9 walks already in
He had
a
8.
week.
Did he walk last night? He had 8 entering last night.
I can't remember if he walked last night.
According to ESPN, he still has 8 walks in 9 games.
I mean, 8 walks in 9 games for a rookie
really
is
good.
pretty crazy.
Really good.
So he's hit the ball.
8 walks in 8 games.
8 walks in 8 games. Yeah, even better. So right now you got to play him every day. Again, I'm going to keep advocating for making trades. We got what's today? The 10th? I don't
The
even know what
10th,
date it is.
correct.
10th.
20
so we got
days.
20 days.
20 days.
to do something. We'll see what they do.
I said the other day, it just feels like the way that they're cycling these young guys up, it just feels like it's a showcase.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, yeah.
That
Absolutely.
they're showing teams.
And Angel Martinez could be the guy they
He
trade.
could be.
It could be.
They're showing teams, this is what we have. What do you like? Who do you like?
Right.
You've seen a little bit of Tanya. You've seen a little bit of Martinez.
Right.
You've seen some Freeman. You've seen Arias. You've seen Rocchio,
Right.
obviously.
Schneemann.
Schneemann, Noel.
Yeah, and let's face, I'm sure right now the fans will. You can't trade Martinez. You can't trade
Yeah.
Martinez.
Yeah.
Yes,
Trade
you can.
Arias. Trade. Yeah, well, okay, Martinez might have more value now. You know,
right.
whatever. The way Martinez is played right now, not dying to trade him at the moment. But if I get the right player, I'd absolutely.
It's a week.
It's 100%. I would trade
If
him.
they get the right guy, I'll pack his
we
bags.
be thirsty.
Yeah.
We are thirsty for. If we get a young dude that's balling,
Yeah.
oh, we all over him. No, you can't get rid of him.
I
He's
hear
the-
you.
He's the future.
I hear you. And right now,
weeks.
if I could get a good batter, get a good hitter, or get a good pitcher and not trade him, that would be preferable.
Right.
But I'm not going to let Angel Martinez one good week stop me from getting a good player.
Yeah.
That's it.
We literally did that topic yesterday, Bull.
Yeah.
Is he an untouchable prospect? And no, I'm serious. We did.
That's crazy.
what?
What did the chat
Would
say?
you? It then pivoted out of that. But
Okay.
the question was: is Angel Martinez, has he played his way into being an
Yeah.
untouchable prospect?
I'm sure 40% of the fans said yes.
We did that yesterday?
Yeah.
Where were you?
He was sitting right next to me.
Yeah.
It was such a bad question. He don't even remember.
Yeah,
he just
CTE.
disregarded
Oh,
it.
it may have been Monday.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we did it.
I
Because
think it was
yesterday,
Monday.
Well, I was here Monday, and I
My question for
Yeah.
you, Bull, real
Yeah.
quick, and G, you can answer this too, because Jason did answer this yesterday. Of all the Guardians prospects that have come up so far, who's been the most impressive in your mind?
all the guys just this year, not like guys.
well,
that-
phrase
This-
it properly.
No, because I want to see if you think Jason's answer is valid or not. Who's been
Okay.
the Guardians' most impressive prospect this year?
So okay. I think Bo Naylor counts, right?
I don't think Bo Naylor counts.
Did he play a lot last year?
I mean, he wouldn't be the answer anyway, but I don't think he
Does
counts.
Rocchio count?
To me, the guys who count are Freeman, Rocchio, Noel, Manzardo, Tanya, Martinez, Schneemann,
Cade Smith.
Cade Smith.
Notice he didn't mention Hunter Gaddis, Jason.
Hunter Gaddis is the most impressive one. That was my answer yesterday.
Didn't he play last
He's
year?
a rookie.
That's
How does
true.
he not count?
I was. How much did he pitch last year?
40
40
innings.
So
Then
I didn't count him.
I don't know why I didn't count him. I
yeah,
thought
well,
he
he
pitched more
counts.
than that. But if he only pitched 40 innings,
He's
then
counts.
you'd include Hunter Gaddis, and then then my answer would be Hunter
And
Gaddis.
it's a landslide too.
Hunter Gaddis is right now is one of the top 5 setup guys in baseball.
Absolutely.
Borderline all-star.
I
if
just
they
didn't
pick
count him as a
relievers.
prospect. That's why I went with Cade Smith.
What's
All right.
that?
I just didn't count Gaddis as like a true
You can't
prospect.
pick. Well, but how many more? I mean,
He pitched 40 innings last year. He
Yeah,
made
but
like 7 starts and
why is
3
he
or 4
not a
relief
prospect?
appearances.
Why would you say that? Because he pitched 40 innings?
Yeah, he had his prospect season was last year. Now
Nah,
he's a
it
full-time
doesn't.
Major
I
League
don't agree
Baseball
with
player.
that. 40 innings is not enough.
If you didn't count him, I would take Schneemann by a hair.
I was actually thinking Schneemann until Gaddis got
hair.
mentioned. By the way, and Gaddis pitched 40 innings as a starter last year. Wasn't he mostly a starter?
Mostly a starter.
So, and he was terrible. He looked awful
Yes.
as a starter.
Yes.
But yeah, Hunter Gaddis has been fantastic. Schneemann of the hitters has been the most impressive because Martinez, it's only been a week, so I
Right.
can't. I like what I've seen from Schneemann. I like what I've seen from Noel in his little time, and I like what I've seen from Martinez in his little time.
Yeah.
I have no interest in watching Gabriel Arias play anymore. Freeman, I'm fine with.
I'm so frustrated with Arias. I was such a big Arias guy.
He's a nothing.
But they have nothing to shorts. Who's your shortstop?
Right now, it's Martinez.
To answer your question,
Yeah.
Paul, earlier, we did the topic on Monday.
Yeah.
And when I asked the question, it immediately pivoted to they have to trade everybody and find a pitcher and a hitter.
100%.
And we never actually talked about Angel Martinez being an
Angel
untouchable prospect,
Martinez
but I did send it out on Monday.
Is not untradeable. That's stupid to think he's untradeable.
There's
Anybody that says
nobody
he's
that's
untradeable
untradeable.
doesn't know what he's talking about.
You know who's untradeable? Gavin Williams and Tanner Bybee.
So
they're untradeable.
You did ask that question Monday because I said, okay, well, in that case, would you trade Gavin Williams? And they're like, we're not
The
trading
only
him.
way I would trade Gavin Williams is if I was getting Tarek Skubal.
Fine.
You know what I'm saying? Not
Sure.
the or
I
not-
guess I shouldn't say untouchable
Right.
because there's no such thing as
yeah.
untouchable.
I told
the
That's
only
who-
the
I'm
only way I'm
hanging up
trading
the phone.
Williams is if I can get a pitcher that I probably can't get.
Right.
And then I threw this trade out. I don't know, Jason. See if you take it. I told him, if this is for an elite prospect. If I'm the other team, I want DeLauder, Manzardo, and Logan Allen.
I mean, Logan Allen, I don't care about at
For
all.
what?
Like if it's a starting rotation type.
DeLauder's considered the number 1 prospect in the organization. Manzardo's probably 2.
I need those.
Yeah, but I would trade. First of all, if I'm going to trade them both in the same trade, I got to get a boatload
I
in return.
can't think of the last time a team traded its top 2 prospects.
Right. That's not going to happen, but I'm saying.
I'm like,
in
I'm trying
theory,
to think, it's probably the Expos and Bartolo Colon, frankly.
Yeah, the only way you trade both of those guys in the same deal is if you're getting a superstar.
Yeah.
You're getting a superstar, not a good player.
Yeah.
You're getting 3 all-stars. Maybe not a superstar, but you're getting 3 all-star caliber players. You'd have to trade both of those guys. You'd have to get a lot. They're not. Neither of those guys are untradeable in the right deal.
I totally agree.
Yes.
I don't think they're trading Manzardo. I think they would trade DeLauder before
In a
they trade
minute,
Manzardo.
if you can get a right hitter or a really good starting pitcher,
But
I would
that's going
trade
to
him.
sound nutty to people because Kyle struggled when he came up here.
Right.
But I don't think they're in any rush to trade Kyle Manzardo.
I agree, but I would trade him in the right deal.
Oh, I would too. But
that's it.
But I don't think they're going to. Like I'm not expecting Kyle Manzardo to get moved in the next 3 weeks. That's not going to happen.
So the arms you're talking about that
Yeah.
you think that they need to put in the rotation to make them a serious contender for the World Series. You're saying that you can get one of those, you can get a guy like that and not trade Manzardo or one of your top prospects? Who are you going to trade?
Depends what the pitcher is. I mentioned Tarek Skubal. That's not realistic. The Tigers probably won't trade him, period. They almost 99.999% wouldn't trade him to the Guardians. If I could get Tarek Skubal, I'd trade anybody. There's no limit to what I would
The two best
give up.
young pitchers who may be on the block are both in the Guardians division, in Crochet and Skubal.
Right. But if it's that next level, if I'm getting Jamison Tyone from the Cubs, if I'm getting, what's his name from the Blue Jays? Who's
Gossman.
Well, I wasn't thinking about Gossman, but yeah, I was thinking about Chris Bassett. Like those guys are good pitchers.
Yeah.
Gossman's having a little bit of a down year. Yes, I would not give up Manzardo for those guys, but I would consider trading DeLauder to get those guys and another player.
Yeah.
Tyone and Gossman are different level too. I wouldn't trade DeLauder for Tyone. But I would trade DeLauder in a deal for Gausman or even Bassett if I'm also getting a hitter from Toronto or maybe an arm in the pen. If I'm giving up my best prospect, I got to fill more than one hole or get a superstar.
Gee, it really comes down to the selling team.
Yeah.
The Guardians for years have gone really with sort of a quantity over quality when they're trading guys out, and they're go look at the Clevenger trade. They got back, 4 or 5 guys. They got Josh Naylor. They got Cal Quantrill. They got Owen Miller.
Yeah.
So they diversified the portfolio because there's such a
They
miss
got Arias
rate.
in that trade, didn't they?
They did
Clevenger
get Arias.
trade, yeah.
So there's such a miss rate on prospects. They have shown over the years they would rather take 4 or 5 pretty decent prospects and trust their development system to get them over the top than to go all in on 1 or 2 guys who 1 or 2 arm injuries away and you have nothing to show for it. Right. But there are other teams who may disagree with that and who may value the high-end, top-end, I want one really, really good one as opposed to 3 or 4 maybes. So it really depends on the organization that's shipping them out and what their philosophy
it's also, is it a team that is, like if you're trading with the White Sox or the A's or the Marlins, those teams are far away from competing. They'd probably rather have the 4 or 5 prospects. If you're trading with the Cubs or the Blue Jays, those teams are closer to competing. They're going to be competitive next year. They're going to want the one higher end prospect.
And is the farm system depleted to where they need to restock the whole thing, or are they? Every team is different. And you're right. Some teams, even though it sounds nutty, may value a guy in High A as opposed to a guy in AAA. If they feel they're a couple years out, they would take a better prospect who's a little bit younger and a little bit farther away.
The Cubs are a great trading partner, I believe, for the Guardians. The problem is, from the Guardians' perspective, is the Cubs are an organization, they have a top 5 farm system right now already. So they're not going to be looking for a lot of pieces. They're going to be looking for one guy that they target in a trade. But if you could get, in theory, Jamison Tyone and Bellinger, or Jamison Tyone and Nico Horner, or Jamison Tyone and Mark Leiter Jr. out of the bullpen. Like, that's worth giving up something for. Now, I really don't think the Guardians would have to give up either Manzardo or DeLauder for Tyone. But if you also got a big-time hitter, you'd have to probably give up one of those guys. Probably DeLauder. I think the Cubs have their first baseman. But they could use some young outfielders.
I think the Jays and the Rays are the 2 teams to watch. I think that they match up really well with both of those teams. The Jays and the Rays have what the Guardians need. Obviously, there's symmetry with those organizations. There's a long history with the Jays. They match up. They trade with the Rays all the time.
Yeah.
The 2 organizations are very close. Those are the 2 that I'm watching for the next 3 weeks. The Jays have fallen out again. they need to probably make some moves
But
and blow
who,
that up.
Toronto, I mean, who in Tampa?
Well, they got to move. They've got Shane Baz and Jeffrey Springs coming back in the next couple of weeks, so they have pitchers. They've already dealt Savali.
Well, Baz is already in the rotation now.
Yeah, but they've got who was it? Eflin, I think.
Yeah,
It could be on the move. There's a couple of guys. They're not top end.
I don't love their
arms,
rotation right now.
but they are guys who can get you to October.
Yeah.
Certainly.
I mean, Toronto's certainly got starting pitchers.
And the Rays with the Rosarina, Brandon Lau, who's been hurt.
Man, Rosarena's having such a bad season.
I know,
I'd
but
still take
he's
him.
actually starting to.
And he's been clutch. He's always been a clutch.
he's starting to
time performer.
put the wheels back on a little
Yeah,
bit.
yeah.
I just think those are two teams to watch.
Yep.